I'm in Loincloth Hour mode where I'm just trying to make everything
Yeah, no,
hot,
no,
even
I
if it's
get,
not.
I get that. I get in that kind of mindset too sometimes. I understand. Welcome everybody
To the Loincloth Hour.
to the land of enchantment and dreams.
No. What do we do on this podcast?
We talk about a lot of things. We kind of mostly look for any form of animated media that appeals to us in a gay way, and we break it down.
Okay, wait. So, like, things like butts,
Yeah.
bondage,
Yeah.
spanking,
Yeah.
like, big muscles.
All the kinky implements that are put into cartoons that have shaped us into who we are today.
For better or for worse.
And
And we have a special guest star today. We're joined by Hiran once again
Oh
to
my
give his
goodness.
unique perspective and expertise.
We have the actual Huron. I've always wanted to meet him. Hello. Well,
and now
special
you can.
guest. Okay, so
Even though he's been on the show before,
He-
but you know, I feel like every time I see him, I'm meeting him again for the very first time.
oh, there you
You
go.
know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
His face is turning red.
I know exactly. I know what you mean. All right, you know what I'm saying.
Okay, so today we are continuing on our journey through Disney's Gargoyles, and we are now up to the episode Lighthouse in the Sea of Time. 4th episode of
Yes.
season 2. It's one I've been looking forward to, actually. Have you been looking forward to this
I
episode?
have, because, you know, despite Long Way Till Morning being my guilty pleasure, I just think this is a better Hudson solo episode.
I agree. And it's not only a better Hudson solo episode, it's a better intro to Macbeth, I feel like.
Oh, it
than
is.
Macbeth's first episode.
Yeah, I patched up a lot of, like, holes in the patchwork of the story that season 1 left. And not only that, but, you know, it has a lot of great moments, great themes. It's just a good episode. I like it.
We all like this episode. But before we get started on it, I've made a discovery.
Oh, yeah?
Did you know that the voice actor of Macbeth also plays Aladdin's hot dad? In
Really?
Aladdin and the King of Thieves movie?
Really?
I never would have guessed.
Oh my.
Having watched the movie with you when we figured it out.
Well, yeah, you know, but our viewers don't know. But yeah, when Aladdin's dad first spoke, I was like, "Hold the fuck on!" Like, I know that voice. And I
That's
looked
so
it up, and, yeah,
funny.
it's John Rhys Davies, who he also plays Gimli in the Lord of the Ring movies.
Oh!
Like the live action ones. And
Oh
I
my
didn't
God!
know that. Like, I learned lots of fucking info about this guy.
Oh, that's so cool.
Um,
so Macbeth's like voiced by an actual dwarf dude. That's awesome, man. Because Gimli from Lord of the
Yes.
Rings, as we know,
just
is a
like
real
had actual
person.
dwarves and actual elves and hobbits in that movie. They
Yeah.
were all real.
Yeah, Orlando Bloom's an elf.
So yeah, that's amazing, and I just thought everyone should know about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I do.
Aladdin's hot. We could do a podcast on Aladdin's hot dad while we're
Oh
at
my
it,
God.
but
We
like, we'll
could.
save that for another time.
Yeah, we will. We need to watch like the King of Thieves together, and then we'll do like an episode about it.
Oh my god, yeah, it's good. It's a good movie. It's my favorite Aladdin movie.
Really? That's interesting to hear. And yeah, no, honestly, I can see it. It's a good one. It's definitely. How many Aladdin movies are there? There's like 4.
There's 3
Three.
and a TV series.
Oh yeah, so yeah, there you go.
But okay, shall we just get started on this crazy episode now?
I
Do we have any other
think
news?
we should. I don't really have any other news. All right, so Lighthouse in the Sea of Time. So, do we want to get into
Right.
how this episode starts?
Well,
Okay,
can
well,
I start? I was gonna say, can we start by talking about the previously on?
Yes, because they do a previously on Gargoyle.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, what did happen last time?
Well, the previously on is one of my least favorites in the entire series
Why?
because it focuses on a terrible episode. Because it's
It-
all scenes from that
yeah,
one Macbeth episode.
Yeah.
What else are they gonna
That's
cover?
all they have.
But B, there's plenty of other stuff they could cover because they give away one of the twists in the episode in the previously on, which is that it's Macbeth, not Xanatos.
Oh yeah, that's true, I guess.
So now, if I were making the previously on,
you just do Hudson stuff?
Well,
or
I would do Hudson.
They show Hudson and Broadway not reading things.
I might have some Hudson stuff, but mainly I would probably have some of the Macbeth stuff, but I would also have Xanatos trying to take the Grimorum.
Yeah.
And and any other artifacts that have occurred so far. I don't recall.
Right, because in this episode they assume that Xanatos is the one.
That way you set up the fact that he's been taking artifacts in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yes, Macbeth can be in it, and you'll be like, oh, he's probably in the episode somewhere, but it doesn't immediately tell you that Xanatos is not involved in the episode whatsoever.
That's true. That would have been better, maybe.
I kind of agree, but I also see where the show's coming from, in which the previously on is literally only viewed as a segment so that the viewers don't feel lost when they're watching an episode. Like, it's reminding them who Macbeth is, so that when Macbeth shows up, they're not like, wait, who is this guy again?
Who the fuck is that? Yeah, like, he's only been in one episode.
Right.
So there's got to be some focus on the Enter Macbeth episode. As poor
I'm not saying that there shouldn't be any focus on it. I'm saying
Less.
It shouldn't be solely focused on that episode, because then you spoil the twist. If you give... one of the things I've heard a lot of the writers talk about over the years is that you want to give some red herrings in a previously on segment. Otherwise, you give away too much of your plot in the previously on.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
I guess they had time constraints. They only had so much time.
Yeah. I think this is one of the previously ons that Greg's actually talked about having regrets with.
Interesting.
I know he has for a couple of them where he's like, yeah, this was too much of a giveaway. We didn't do it right.
Yeah.
Well, all I caught on the previously on was it just showed Macbeth, like, kidnapping gargoyles and, like, just putting them in bondage.
Yeah.
Which is something he'll continue to do in this episode.
Yeah, it had...
Because last time he took Brooklyn and Lexington and stuck them in a cage. And like, gave Brooklyn his, like, electrocution tank, which continues to this day as well.
It was an awakening in him, and the previously on did have some moments that I enjoyed from Enter Macbeth. I like they displayed the scene where Goliath falls and you see his pecs like heaving just for like a second.
I don't want to look at that. His like weird 6-pack.
No, not his 6-pack, his pecs. No, when he falls like from the mirror room and then like he lands on his back.
That one. Okay,
yeah,
you just love his heavy breathing.
I do. Yeah. I like watching pecs move. It's hypnotic.
Just rise and fall.
It's like peaceful, like the ocean, you know. But anyways, and it also had that scene where Macbeth literally has to like strip out of his like his trench coat to escape from Goliath.
I fucking knew you'd focus on that again, too. And you get to see like Macbeth's like really like tight ass because like his pants are super tight.
He's wearing like a Metal Gear Solid style like suit and everything.
Cat suit.
Like cat suits are good.
A cat suit.
Because it has the word cat in it. That's why I like it.
So all those things happened.
And then
previously, owl. Yes. And then the episode starts with an extreme close-up of an owl, which is awesome because I love owls. And I was very happy to see this owl.
Is an owl... Okay, I could be very wrong on this. What, huh?
Yes, it was an owl.
No. I wasn't asking, is it an owl? I was saying... I could be wrong on this. Aren't owls connected to like Merlin in like a sense or something from the?
Oh,
yeah.
Are they?
I believe they
yes,
are.
Yeah,
because he had I didn't even think of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because Archimedes is his owl in some versions.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yes, owls are usually associated with Merlin.
So I mean that's a really interesting.
Oh my God, you guys are smart.
That's a really interesting thing that they decide to open the first Merlin mention episode with an owl.
This is like Merlin's biggest episode.
Yeah, because
this episode is crazy.
No, a lot happens in it.
Okay, but so we see an owl. I guess we're like supposed to be in England, and we see like a cave. It's not a crystal cave. It's just a normal cave. And then we hear some people talking. I hate these people. I'm just gonna lay it out for you.
Yeah, like, who are these nerds?
Like, okay.
Oh, I can tell you who these nerds are.
Oh, do you have their names?
Yes, their names are Lydia Dwayne and Arthur Morwood Smith.
Yeah, the most British names they could possibly come up with.
Which also happen to be all names of the writers on this episode.
God,
just mixed up.
You're stealing my thunder with this trivia. Yes, that is true. Because like these like 4 different writers, I think, on the show.
Yeah.
And like a piece of each of their names is in these people's names.
I love.
But I don't know why they would put their names into these people because I hate these people. Like these people are annoying.
I love how we're supposed to be like a very gay and openly kinky podcast, but we actually do have like some pretty interesting facts about not only the show but the episode and the minor characters and just like all this other stuff. Like we're so good at our job.
Okay, because we also just fucking love this show so much. But, like,
we do.
I don't think either of these people, Lydia Dwayne or Arthur Morwood Smith, I don't think either of them ever come back.
They do.
They do? When? When do they come back?
Hold on. I know for a fact they come back.
Oh my god.
I will now Google it because...
Okay.
They appear in Sentinel. That's what it is.
Sentinel?
Yes.
Which one is that the one with the golem? What is Sentinel?
No, the
Sentinel is the Easter Island episode. They're the ones who find
God.
Lisa when she loses her memory.
I hate that episode too.
Yeah, it's really
not
bad.
an episode that I like.
Oh my god.
But they do come back.
God, okay.
And that's where we actually find out their names.
Okay.
Because no, the lady is named in this episode. Just the guy tells her her name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he needs to remind
I think
her.
he did. Anyway, I don't know if these people are married or what. In my notes, I only have them as annoying British people. Like, that's all that I have for
I'm
them.
fairly certain they're not married, given they have different names.
Oh, well, not all couples take on
I know, but this is the 90s.
Listen,
They're British.
They're British.
I can tell you one thing though. This is like the most Indiana Jones themed like episode, like little scenario where they're like going into these caves and like they're finding like this like ancient relic and everything. It just reminds me.
Yeah,
of
they're
Indiana
finding like
Jones.
actual magical shit.
Yeah.
And then they don't say anything about magic being real and just continue.
They just don't react at all.
They
They
literally
found like actual real magic. There's like, well, we found these scrolls, and I'm just like, no, those are normal looking. Like, you need to freak out about the glowing blue lights that just surround. We're not even there yet.
Or the liar, the place itself.
It turned into the shape of like Merlin's face and shit, and his like big like foggy space eyes looked at them for a second before disappearing, and they're like, "Oh hey, look at this like paper."
I can't even. Okay, let's go in order. Okay, so first they're exploring this cave. They go into flashlights. The lady says like, "Careful, or the whole hillside will come down on us," in like the most annoying voice possible. But it's like some sort of ancient ruin, and they find a room inside that looks like a wizard's house. Like, there's a cauldron there, there's a crystal ball, there's the staff of Magus from Dragonlance, there's like a lyre, like there's all these like magical accoutrements just in this place. That lyre that I mentioned, it might be a reference to Thomas the Rhymer, who is also associated with Arthurian mythology. He was the author of the Tristan and Isolde cycle.
I love.
But I don't know. That's like the only thing I tried googling like King Arthur and lyre, and like that's all I could find on it.
I do have something for you.
What do you have?
So Greg, when he was asked about the lyre, said that was actually going to be question was going to be answered in Pendragon, where the lyre was one of the things that was planned to return.
I would love to know. Yeah, because there is a recurring motif in Arthur of like a sword, a staff, and a lyre. So like, if people have theories, please send them to us at the Loincloth Hour.
We're calling you out, all Arthurian like nerds.
I am really into King Arthur shit, but like, there's a lot.
There
is. That's
is.
impossible.
I was actually listening to the Tristan and Isolde opera not too long ago. It was like a 3-hour rendition from like the 1950s, and I think it was like Germany. It was recorded. It was very nice, very beautiful.
Wow. Was that Wagner?
It was Wagner, yes. I love Wagner's
Beautiful.
work.
I would love to listen to that sometime.
I'm gonna bring my CDs over next time I visit. I have like a bunch of Wagner CDs actually.
God, that would be awesome.
They're like four. I have 4 CD sets of like During des Nibelungen, Parsifal. I have a couple renditions of Parsifal actually because I love that one.
I love Parsifal.
That's
so
like
much.
my favorite.
Anyway, okay.
Anyways.
So they found Merlin's fuck pad, basically.
Yeah,
this
just
is
about.
where all like the hot wizard sex happened.
Mm-hmm.
Then they hear like music playing, so they follow the sound, and that lyre that's on the wall is like just sort of vibrating, like it's vibing magically.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that doesn't matter because they just sort of like ignore that lyre and just go to this chest. Like there's a recurring thing where like magic things happen. But I don't know if these people are aware of the magic, or they're just really oblivious. I don't know. But the lady is like, ancient Celtic. The seeker of knowledge need fear nothing here. The destroyer, everything. So they open up this chest, and this is when things go fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Because, like, these blue glowing, like, ley lines? Question mark? Like, just shoot out of the chest. Circles around them, like, they spaz out. Like, they clearly can see this part. Because they're, like, freaking out about it. And then, like, the lines take the shape of what I'm assuming is Merlin's, like, very angry-looking face, and he sort of, like, scowls at them. But then, like, the lines flow back into the chest. And then the people, like we were saying, they don't fucking react to any of that. They're sort of like, oh, that was a weird thing. And then they open up the chest and they're like, oh, there's scrolls here, though. And the scrolls are like fucking, like, the scrolls are steaming because they're, like, either very hot or, like, they were just created. I don't fucking know.
I mean...
But then they're like, the scrolls of Merlin. And they're all, like, impressed by what they've found.
Definitely not just created because of a line later in the episode.
Well, we don't know if... I feel like... Okay, so
he said they were sealed by his own hand.
Yes, he did. But I feel like the lines that we saw come out of the chest, like, I feel like that was a spell. This is what I think happened in this scene. The spell examined them and saw whether they were true seekers of knowledge or if they were, like, other, like, grave robbers or something like that. And if they weren't there with, like, pure intentions, they would have died there, is I think what would have happened. But because the spell was like, oh, well, you know, they're archaeologists, it went back into the chest, and then the spell became the scrolls.
Okay.
That's what I think happened. That's my pet theory.
I was just gonna say, regardless of, like, what it meant, I just like it because it's kind of spooky in a way, because we've never... do we see Merlin at one point in the Gargoyle series?
I don't think so. He is mentioned.
He's like this.
Like when Arthur.
He's like this very ominous presence, and this is probably like the closest we've come to seeing him manifested in the Gargoyle series. So that's why I really like that scene. But then it's like what you said about the fucking archaeologist ignoring it. Yeah, that does kind of bother me too.
Like, we do know that Merlin would have had a part in the future of Gargoyles, because, like, we know some of Greg's plans. But, yeah, unfortunately, we never quite got there. I would love to see his take on it.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Really cool.
Without a doubt.
But that scene... That's the end of that scene, then we fade out.
Hold on, I got one more thing for that scene. Go. So when they open the chest, you look, and I had to double check later on, but there are 4 scrolls in the chest.
Well, I think they put 2 each in each canister.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Or it's like the scroll that you unroll it, so it looks like 2 things.
No, because there are 8 things.
Oh, really?
But the weird part is, when he opens it, and reads it later on, he takes out only a single one from the canister and says, this is the second and final.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's an animation error.
So I'm assuming it's an animation error.
But
there's actually... I did notice several flubs on the animation department in this episode. Like...
Yeah...
That is something I did notice.
Yeah, it
seems
that's interesting. They don't give Hudson episodes a lot of budget, which is kind of annoying.
That's sad. Like, they need to fully animate.
Because he's like my
really
favorite character.
Muscly back and butt.
I know. And I've looked it up. It's like, it's really hard. I don't think there's like any like... I think the only HD posters of characters that they made about in Gargoyles is like Goliath, but they are recently making more like of those HD like awesome posters for other characters as they're releasing the NECA toys. They made one for Thailog on the side of the Thailog box.
Really?
So they're probably going to be releasing more like more of those because the main poster for like Gargoyles is like Goliath like arched on the side of the clock tower, and Thailog is like he's on some building and there's like all this like really intimidating lightning around him and everything.
Ooh, that sounds so cool.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to what they might do for the other figures and everything because I do intend on collecting those.
Yes. Speaking of those figures, you have the Goliath one. Would you like to do a mini toy review?
Oh,
while we're on the subject?
Sure. Yeah, no, he looks amazing, honestly. The wings are fucking huge. I'm always like worried that they're gonna like throw his balance off, but no, they've handled his model and everything for this toy very professionally. His muscles are fucking rippling, almost in like a scary like wrinkled way, but you know it's still kind of appealing because he's like such a strong beast man, you know?
So big.
Yeah, absolutely.
So stern.
The tail, I think, is probably my least favorite, but it is probably the canonical size of his actual tail. So, I mean, I don't really have a lot of complaints about that other than there's, like, these weird, like, little breather holes in the side so that you can move the tail and everything, but that's a necessity.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
you can also see, like, there's, like, joints in his elbows so that you can move his elbows. His elbows are very sharp. Like, you could probably poke your eye out with them, but they, like, move and everything. Like, they have motion joints. It comes with a few other little details. Like, for some reason, there's a pickle. Like, there's just a green pickle. Or, like...
It's not a jalapeno, maybe?
Oh, yeah, it's a jalapeno. Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's gonna have one with each figure or something like that. I'm not sure. But,
he comes with a book too, right? That's
yeah.
reading.
You can change his hands around to where he's like holding stuff, where he could have his fists out and whatnot.
They also confirmed on the subject that I believe it's Bronx's figure is going to come with additional wings for Goliath.
Oh.
So basically, what they said was, in order to keep all the toys the same price, some of the extra wings for the Gargoyles are going to come with characters that don't have wings.
Yeah, that's
that
the only way
makes
to sell
that
the
makes that
figure,
makes
probably.
sense. Yeah, because Bronx isn't as I mean, not
That
saying
was
Bronx.
mean.
Not saying Bronx isn't as marketable, but he isn't really.
Even the showrunners agree with me. That's why they never put Bronx in any episodes.
Yeah, Bronx has
I think
one scene. Sorry,
they confirmed Bronx, Elisa, and Xanatos would have wings come with them.
I didn't even know Xanatos was even getting a figure. Oh
I
no!
It was Xanatos.
Oh
I forget
God.
I forget who the third figure was.
They should put him in like his sweet gargoyle sex armor.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But I mean, hey, you know, whatever floats their boat. They're giving us the most Gargoyles material we've had in years, so I'm not going to argue. It's good material.
David Xanatos.
The gay boy.
Okay, I just have one question about the NECA figure. Is Goliath's loincloth removable? Can you take that off?
You can... Let me see. I actually haven't... You can definitely... No, it's not removable, but you can see up
that's
it.
Too bad.
You can lift up
gosh.
the flaps, and there's no like, you know, obviously there's no cock or anything, but I mean, like, you can see like where the placement of that would be pretty graphic. Looking at this figure, and they do give him very beautifully detailed butt cheeks in the back. Granted,
God.
Granted, it's not like a hole just like ass because there's like a giant hole. Like a gaping hole where you put the tail in. So
it's Goliath like after like his whole clan is finished with him, basically.
Yeah, just about. The thighs and just like everything else are like really well sculpted and everything. Like they look like they're very porn worthy thighs, I would say.
Very nice.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Yes.
I hope to get my hands on it one of these days.
I thought you already had one. Did you not?
No, we don't have that, but we do have the Gargoyles board game, which.
Yeah.
We've constructed it, but we have not yet played a game, and I'm really looking forward to the time.
I'm gonna next when I'm up there, we're gonna play it together.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, we will.
That's a mandatory.
Okay. Toy review over. Back to the show. So we're at the clock tower. All the Gargoyles and Elisa are here. Lexington is like, he's on the floor with a pile of magazines around him. One of which says TICM. And another just says, Science Inquiry Found, Scrolls of Merlin. And he's all excited because he's reading about the Scrolls of Merlin and how they're being like held at the Metropolitan Museum. And he's all like, oh, do you think they really were written by like Merlin himself? And then Elisa's like, yeah, wouldn't that be cool? And this is the point where I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Just everyone's acting like Merlin's like an actual historical figure who was like real. And like I expect I got confused by this part. So, like I don't know if like they have like an alternate history or something. Or like normal people think that King Arthur and shit was really happened. I don't know.
I
way
feel like
I
they
see
do
it-
because
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. We got to come to an agreement on this. Okay, so it's fine.
All right, I'm going to go first, very quickly. My opinion on the matter is that since he was an actual historical figure, it's not that surprising that the archaeologists of the time would have found evidence that he was an actual historical figure, and people would believe he was an
Because in
actual
this
historical
universe
figure.
he was. Because in this universe he was a real person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, that does make sense.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, the way I saw that scene was, Elisa doesn't really know a whole lot about historical figures and all that, so she's just being a supportive mom and being like, yeah, wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, whatever you think is cool, Lexington, yes,
Absolutely.
I support you.
Like, I love Elisa, she's very smart, but I don't think she's historically, like, adept like everyone else is. So she just kind of plays along.
I liked both of these theories. I don't know which one I like more.
Maybe they're both right. Maybe, like, Merlin is a historical figure, but Elisa just wasn't sure, and she's just like, yeah, that'd be cool.
Well, I mean, apparently they found evidence that he's real, so, like, good for these people. Good for Lydia Duane and the other one.
The British. Good for the
Brooklyn's
Brits.
also there. He's just reading a magazine that's called Tempo on it, which I just thought was really cute. He's like, he has to be cool at all time, be like that rocker guy.
Yeah.
But he's all like, so he was a wizard, right? Like the Magus, which like tells you what he thinks about wizards in general, and I can't blame him because every wizard we've met so far has been a douchebag.
There's been no good examples, I'd say.
But Goliath is like, yes, he was a white wizard, whatever the fuck that means. He lived in the 5th century, which is one of the more common time periods that like King Arthur shit is placed in.
Okay, let's get into wizard rankings because I'm pretty sure if you watch Lord of the Rings, you know, Gandalf the Grey became Gandalf the White. He like ascended into the next level of wizardry. So I'm assuming like white wizard means like he was like a very top tier wizard.
See, I figured it was more like his alignment, like he was a good wizard.
I don't like that. I don't like the idea
or like
of
the kind of magic he used was like used for the help of common people and stuff like that.
I mean, I see where you're coming from, but I really don't like the idea of white and black being a term of alignment. Like, black is evil.
Yeah, well,
white is
we know, like, black magic is a thing. It's usually the magic of the dead and stuff like that.
It is portrayed as evil in most media, but black magic in terms of real life, which I'm not saying magic is real, hear me out, but I'm just like, the concept of it, is more so that it's just not something you're supposed to do, but it's not necessarily, I mean, I don't know, I'm not a wizard.
I won't disagree that using colors for alignment is not an unproblematic thing to possibly be doing, and you might want to think about that.
Yeah.
But that's what they say in the show, so we're just...
There's a reason I don't use colors in my own magic system.
That's why Magic the Gathering should rethink its whole fucking deal. White, red, green, blue, all of them should be
To be fair,
renamed.
all of the colors are evil in magic, so...
Magic is messed up.
I mean, it can be.
Okay, but blah. Okay, so Broadway is like, why stare at marks on a page and just rent the video? Which is like, he's already like a 90s boy, you know, it's okay. So they have a short conversation where Lexington is like, actually reading is awesome, but Broadway says he can't read, and he doesn't feel like he's missing anything. Like, he actually seems really proud of himself that he can't read in this scene.
Oh, it reminds me of...
I don't know if it's like a coping mechanism for
I think
him,
it
like,
is.
actually feeling inferior to the other ones.
I feel like it definitely has to be, because he, like, even after the other people let it go, in the next scene, he's still going on about
he's going
it.
to burn it up again later, yeah.
It feels like they've had this conversation a dozen times already, because the others are just so done with it already.
Yeah, they sort of roll their eyes. And then I think Brooklyn asked Hudson, like, his opinion, and he's just like, leave me the fuck alone. Like, I'm not even in this conversation.
Wait, no, what is his exact line, though? Because I love it.
His line
I didn't write this line down.
His exact line, I didn't write it down, but I remember, is, leave me out of this. It's time for celebrity hockey.
Celebrity hockey.
I just love that he just watches celebrity hockey, like he's invested into it, and it's like he needs the other people to shut up so he can enjoy it. Like,
but
just this old Gargoyle man.
He's keeping a secret though that he also can't read. Is the thing.
Yeah, no, he is. You know, I think
he just doesn't want the subject brought up around him. Or
I think
for
it's
him to
interesting.
participate.
I think it's interesting because it's almost like a genetic display of, you know, that implication that Hudson and Broadway are related, because they both kind of had that similar coping mechanism to that, you know,
that is
to the
true.
Illiteracy. They're both
The
illiterate.
apple doesn't fall far from the tree in that case.
Yeah, like he's been like trying to brush off the fact he can't read for like his whole life now, and he's just like, you know, he's done talking about it, and Broadway's just starting out, you know, with his own stances on why it should be justifiable why he can't read.
Yeah. So, like, Broadway gets, like, defensive in a way about it, while Hudson, like, is more, like, he's ashamed about it, so he doesn't want it brought up at all. Interesting. So, okay, at that point, Elisa is like, well, I gotta get going, because she and Matt are on escort duty for the scrolls, and July's all like, do we know what's in these scrolls? And she says, no, but rumor is they're magic spells. To which July looks like really like sus about that. He's just like, he does this scowl on his face. So right for that, we go to what looks like the middle of the ocean, and the really annoying archaeologist lady is here. What was her name? Lydia Duane.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to Arthur Morwood Smith. He's gone. He's not involved after this.
She ate him.
But she's helping Elisa and Matt climb onto the ship. She's like, oh, we didn't think you'd make it. And I'm like, is this a normal thing for like an escort to like go out into the middle of the ocean to what they're escorting? Like, I got confused at this part.
I would assume that they came to escort it as soon as they got out of international waters.
Okay. I guess that makes sense. But like Elisa and Matt, they're there in like a speedboat, it looks like.
Yeah. And it's like stormy as hell, and it doesn't look safe at all. But like Elisa's like, I would have swam here to see to not miss this or something like that.
I know, she's so into Merlin today. She like Lexington told her all about it, and she's like, I'm gonna learn about these scrolls and like tell my little son like all about them. It's gonna be so much fun. I love it. So like she's here for it.
Absolutely.
So, on the ship, we learn that scrolls, they're sealed inside 2 canisters, and this is like going to be really important through the whole episode. There's 2 fucking canisters that the scrolls are in. And then we see these 2 planes just sort of like come out of nowhere. There's like these weird like high-tech jets, and they start shooting like blue laser beams at everybody, and like they knock everyone down, just like Garland does in Final Fantasy. And then we see the Gargoyles, they're nearby flying, because they suspected something like this would happen. Because they think Xanatos is making a move on these magical scrolls, just like he's tried to steal, like, every other magic shit that, like, he's ever seen. So they're all like, oh, let's go fucking get him. And then Lexington geeks out for a little bit about how the planes that they're using are, like, carrier jets, he calls them, which can land and take off like helicopters, and he says he read about them. And at that point, Broadway, I think he takes that as like another dig against him, although I think Lexington was like just talking. But he's all like, when your life is this exciting, who needs books? And he's all like, I guess they're fighting. Like,
yeah,
okay.
no, it still hasn't left Broadway's mind.
Yeah, like he's still steaming about it. But we do see these carrier jets land. These two goons come out. Should we talk about these goons? These henchmen?
I mean, they're definitely there. Like, Macbeth's little...
They're in so many episodes. Because they always work for the mystery villain of this episode, who we will not name.
Do you know their names?
Yes. Their names are Banquo, and I'm probably going to mispronounce it, Fleance? Is that how you say her name?
Fuck kind of
I always
names
said
are
Fleance.
these?
But okay, there are two more Macbeth characters.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
And they're never named in the show, but they're named in like the credits.
Okay. Fair enough.
So I don't know if Macbeth named them himself. Maybe these are like long lost descendants of Macbeth, and he's like been in charge of like the naming their family for generations. That would be weird.
I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of unexplored territory there. Well, we can leave it up to, it's open. It's open.
But yes, there's a sexy butch like short-haired lady, and there's a big bar blonde guy with like hair.
Yes.
arms.
Yeah.
So like this is like this another example of like gay lesbian solidarity found in the show.
It is. It really is.
Because they both give that vibe to me. I'm like, these people are gay.
They should go on
Everyone
a
is
double
gay.
date with Wolf and Fox.
Oh my god. Yes. Okay, when Wolf eventually gets his team of sidekicks, which he'll call the Wolf Pack,
Jesus.
Banquo will be one of them.
Absolutely.
He's gonna fill the blonde hunk category.
I love that idea, because then it's like Wolf. It just reminds me, and I've told you this already, of when Mac was like trying to get like his double, and he was just like picking all these like hot guys and stuff to try to replace him.
Oh my god!
Or
and
no,
he was just like thirsting over one of them the whole episode.
I feel like if the Blondie was in the Wolf Pack, Wolf would just be like, okay, here's your battle uniform, and
It's just a jockstrap.
It's just a Speedo, and it's just like he's just like. Okay.
Miss Beth never made me wear something like this.
Well, I'm not Macbeth.
Oh, I'm not Macbeth. Yeah, then he just like fucks him really hard.
Jesus.
Okay, so anyway, so like this insane fight scene happens. Like the goons are just like shooting randomly as they make their way towards where the scrolls are kept.
Yeah.
And eventually they blow open the steel door. This is like the captain's. This is like where the captain hangs out and like where the wheel of the ship is and stuff. But like the door like just slams into Matt's like face and like knocks him out. And I laughed so hard because like this is the most that Matt even gets to do in this episode. He just knocked out by a door. Like
I don't think he utters a single line this whole episode.
He doesn't. I think he makes like a grunt of pain and like that's it.
He does that like that the Mary Orth characters do. Catches the frisbee. Anyway,
so Lisa's like, holy shit! It's like she gets her gun. They have their guns. They're all shooting each other. Like she dodges like 17 laser bolts somehow in like rapid succession.
She looks like she's playing like one of those dance like arcade machines where she's got to like step in a certain way to get the
DDRing
arrows.
her way like to safety.
Like
I just got Neo vibes from it, but
oh, that's true. She's got cat-like reflexes. I guess that's why Derek turned into a cat.
Yes, because they're a family of cats.
Which Derek isn't even like hasn't been mentioned for like the past 2. He's not gonna be mentioned again for a hot minute, is he?
Yeah, because I think he's only in like 3 episodes in this season. Otherwise, we don't talk about him.
No,
ever.
come on. No, he's definitely in more than 3
he's
because
at least 5.
Really?
Because season. Go ahead.
I don't want to talk about Derek today, but
No, we're not. No, I mean like he's in. Because season 2 is so long and carries like the rest of the show. We do see everything else with the mutates and everything And pretty much, I think by the end of season 2, they're still living in their like little hangout base, and they're like allied with Goliath at that point. So there's quite a few more episodes we're gonna see them in, but that's not for the time being.
Yeah, because like there's the Demona episode too.
I don't feel like they're in that many episodes. Well, I'd probably run.
Well, they're in every episode in the world tour that goes back to New York.
Are they?
Except for the
Pendragon
episode.
Yeah.
Yep. They're in all the others.
That's so weird.
Well,
but I believe you. I believe you implicitly. So Elisa's out just like 17 laser bolts, and the blonde type just runs up and like pushes her, and she falls down. And then the hot butch one, Fleance, she goes up to the really annoying British lady, and she's like, "Give him up." And annoying British lady is like, "No, these scrolls are priceless." And Butch is like, "Oh man, what was I thinking?" And then like the British lady actually looks hopeful. She's like, "Oh,
so
I got through to the terrorist. Like my words got through to her."
That makes me laugh so hard every time I watch this episode. It never stops being funny.
That's so good. So good.
So then Fleance just like sweeps the British lady's legs out from under her, and like the scrolls like they go into the air and they catch them, and like they take the scrolls like badasses. So like then they're making their getaway after that. This is when the Gargoyles come in. This scene lasts a while. Like the only important thing to know is that the Gargoyles like don't keep these two from escaping. They get on their ships and fly away, but Hudson manages to grab one of the scrolls, but he falls into the ocean with it. And the other Gargoyles don't see this happen, but they do see Broadway like clinging to another of the jets as it like flies the fuck away. So they think that Hudson is also on like the other ship. So they like fly after him, and they sort of accidentally abandon Hudson in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, it's like a very hectic like scene and everything. And then we
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say I'll let Krupp handle the visual details.
The visual details. Were you gonna say something, Hiron?
I was just
go ahead.
I thought you were asking me if I wanted to say something. Okay, it's fine. We'll figure this out. We got this. We'll stop interrupting each other at some point on accident.
Never. I'll never do that. Okay, well, one of you say something.
Okay, fine. So I was just going to say, I was actually very impressed with how clearly everything was communicated in such a hectic scene that there's what viewer can go through and have no questions to what happened. The Minion doesn't look like an idiot for dumping him off with a scroll, because he grabs it like just as he electrocutes him.
Right.
Like it's all very well paced and timed for an episode that doesn't have the best animation.
Yeah, like the animation isn't that good in this episode, but like it's direct. It seems to be directed well, at least, or like the storyboard artist did a really good job. Like, yeah, it's always clear what's happening, and all the emotion that I feel like we're supposed to be feeling always comes through. So like this is an example of like, I guess, an episode that didn't need a high budget to work. So let's see. From there, we go a little bit later. They're at the docks, and the annoying British lady, Lydia Duane, she's telling the cops, no one specific. I mean, who wouldn't want them? Which just, like, it always struck me as funny, like, just how high, like, up her own ass that her head is. Like, she thinks that, like, the Scrolls of Merlin are the most amazing thing and that everyone in the world wants them.
Yeah, but that's also the last time we see her this episode, so thank God.
I know. Well, we'll see her on Easter Island next, so I'm very glad that her career doesn't end here, and that she gets to go on and do more outlandish shit in other places. But we see Elisa, she very sneakily, like, walks away from the group into a dark alley, and there she has a meeting with Goliath and the boys, where she's like,
Goliath and the boys.
Goliath, I mean, Xanatos, like, he got the drop on us again and made us look like amateurs. If only we had proof. And then Goliath's like, we don't need proof, because we're crazy vigilantes. And Lisa's like, oh yeah, you are. So, like, that's how that scene ends.
Yeah, pretty much.
Then we see a very brief glimpse. We see that Hudson has washed up on a beach in front of what looks like a very nice-looking house, and there's, like, a wall around the house with gargoyles on the wall. And he staggers, like, maybe 2 feet out of the water before he just, like, blacks out again. But we know that he's alive. Like, he's okay. He's fine.
Yeah, Hudson's been through a lot in every one of his solo episodes. I mean, like,
He always gets put through hell.
I know. I mean, I get it because he's like been fighting for so long, and we're supposed to like feel tired with him with all the shit he has to do. I mean, the way he faced off against Demona and protected Goliath in his first solo episode, and now this shit where he literally wallows in the ocean
Goliath.
until he washes up on some nearby shore.
Mm-hmm. And from there, we go back to the carrier jets. We see them coming up on, like, a gothic castle of some kind. And they fly around to, like, their jet garage that they have in the back of it. And the two goons get out. They're talking. The Banquo is telling his butch lesbian best friend that, like, oh, I lost one of the canisters. And she's like, oh, well, the boss is gonna fucking kill you for that. But as she's talking, you see Broadway, like, sneaking past the street, and he's holding the canister that she had. Like, it was really fucking funny because, like, now they don't have either canister.
I think the funniest part is how incompetent these goons are for not hearing the clapping of Broadway's cheeks as he sneaks.
I know. I'm like, how did you miss him?
He's so dummy thick. I guess he's just learned to wear it at this point. You know, stealth. How can he sneak in his physique?
It's so good. Then we go to Castle Wyvern. Goliath and Brooklyn and Lex, they land. They burst in on Owen, like, writing some erotic fan fiction, it looks like, on his little typewriter. And Goliath, like, this is like the third or fourth time they've burst into this castle. This is like the third or fourth time they've burst into this castle, and it never worked. So I don't know why they keep doing it and try to, like, intimidate these people. But Goliath's all like, Xanatos, Hudson, Broadway, where are they? And Owen's like, I suppose they could be anywhere.
It's like he knows that he has nothing to do with this shit, but he just plays with them anyways because it's so much fun.
He's such a shitlord in this episode. So, like, Goliath, like, demands to know where they are, and Owen, like, he gets this coy look on his face, and he's just like, you know I can't do that. So then, like, Goliath, Brooklyn, lets him, like, they all jizz into Owen's open mouth to send a message to Xanatos, and they all, like, start searching the castle, like, for their friends. I guess.
Bukake, yeah.
Okay, so back at the jet garage, Broadway is, like, still here. Like, I guess he can't find a way out. And the two goons are, like, searching for him, but they're searching by, like, looking in each one of, like, these hundreds of barrels of jet fuel. They have, like, one at a time.
Oh, they share a single brain cell.
So, like, I don't know why they're doing, but eventually they figure out that, like, Broadway is, like, hiding, like, behind some of these barrels. They're all like, oh, we're gonna get him. But then he, like, just starts throwing barrels at them like he's Donkey Kong, and they are, like, they're, like, jumping out of the way or, like, getting hit. And then he, like, claws his way through one of the walls, like he probably should have done, like, from the beginning. Like, he gets outside, it's raining, there's thunder, and then
there's bagpipes!
Then we hear bagpipe music.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. And it's our boy. It's Macbeth. He's back. He's in rare form. He's amazing. Broadway's all like, Macbeth! And Macbeth's like, yes, I am Macbeth. So, like, Broadway, like, tries to get past him, but, like, Macbeth does some kung fu bullshit and, like, throws him into the mud, like Broadway is like a little piggy boy. And Macbeth, he says something like, you understand, I don't get any real pleasure out of this.
I wrote down the exact quote, so you're right.
Because, like, it was oddly horny. Because we were like, but you are, though.
He definitely
feel like
is.
he is.
Like, look how tight his muscles are in that scene with, like, the rain coming down on him.
Oh my god. Like, he's been working out, like, just to impress the next Gargoyle he got to wrestle with.
Yeah. He has a new trench coat, too.
Does he? Oh, yeah, because he left his old one.
Yeah, so he had to get a copy.
Yeah, he must like that style a lot.
He has, like, his own wardrobe.
So, Broadway, like, he gets up to fight again, but Macbeth gets to be all cool. He says, well, you've got courage, beastie, I'll give you that. What you don't have is a prayer. And he throws, like, a gas canister at Broadway's feet, which, like, makes him cough a lot, and then, like, he very sexually, like, sort of moans and falls to his knees, and then, like, sways a little bit and gets all woozy and just, like, falls on his chest.
He might as well have just fallen face down, ass up at that point.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time for Broadway.
No, definitely not. He's familiar with that position.
Yeah, like, he understands that gargoyles just end up in that position a lot around him for some reason.
Especially, when the thick ones.
Yeah, the thicker they are, the harder they fall.
Yeah, no, and Broadway does fall pretty hard in this scene.
By hard, I mean, like, with an erection.
Yeah. No, okay, so that way when he falls, it's like a kickstand.
Oh my god.
It's fine.
Okay, so Macbeth, he takes the canister that Broadway had been running away with, and he's basically jizzing his pants over it. He's like, oh, the scrolls of Merlin. Because he's, like, a massive, like, King Arthur fan, it turns out. And then, like, he opens the seal on the one, but then he finds out it's the second scroll, and the first scroll is missing. And he's like, these things are magical. Like, it would be dangerous to read them out of order, because, like, who the fuck knows what'll happen if I do that.
Yeah, no, I mean,
so,
right. You don't want to fuck around.
No, you don't. Not with magic. Not with Merlin.
Not with the white wizard scroll magic.
Mm-hmm. So then he asks his two flunkies. He's like, where's the first one? And they sort of looked at each other like, oh, we're going to get spanked now, because we don't have, we failed our mission.
These two, for some weird reason, remind me of, like, the Da Vinci twins.
I don't know who those are.
They're like, I don't know, it was like an internet meme for a while, like, they're just, like, two dumb blonde twins who, like, I don't know, they're famous for saying Da Vinci's name wrong because they're stupid.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if they said it wrong, if you just honestly didn't know how to say Da Vinci. So I'm
it was definitely them. I know how to say Da Vinci, but it was the fact they said
Da Vinci Code.
They said Da Vinci, and it became, like, popular. I'm gonna have to send you that later.
You should. So, back at the beach where Hudson is, he's just starting to wake up again when, like, there's a dog sniffing his face, and then a voice is like... Yeah, the voice is asking the dog, like, if it found another sand crab, and then Hudson groans, and the voice is like, whoa, who's there? Are you alright? So then Hudson looks up, he sees a man standing over him, wearing dark glasses at night, and holding a cane. He's, like, clearly a blind man.
Yeah.
So Hudson just mumbles something about how, he had a little trouble, and the man says something about how, like, well, this beach isn't safe after dark anymore. So he asks if he can help Hudson. Hudson says he just needs a place to rest until sunrise. Then he asks if he can lean on this man. And the man invites him, like, into his home. Like, it was his house that we had seen before. And he has a nice fire going inside. And Hudson says, there's little I can offer in return, except my thanks. And the guy says, that's payment in full. My name's Robbins, Jeffrey Robbins. And you? And Hudson says, Hudson, like the river.
It's such a sweet scene. I love it.
I've read romance fics that started off like this.
I know!
I have always shipped these two.
I'm just gonna... I never did until I watched it today, and I was like... Well, hold on a second. Like, they're in love. And,
I know.
It's really, like, I don't know why I didn't see it until this time, but I don't think I ever realized it or, like, looked at it in that way. But, like, yeah, like, I really ship them in this episode, and, like...
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure that Robbins takes Hudson for, like, a homeless guy at this point who got beat up on the beach. So, like, from the very first start, like, we understand he's a very kind person who will help others, no matter who they are. So, like, I just really like him in this episode. He's so cool.
Yeah, and he's got a good sense of judgment, too, because it's like, Hudson's a good person. He can tell that this isn't some, like, this isn't, like, some thug on the beach or anything. This is genuinely a guy who needs help.
Yeah, they both like dogs. They have that in common. They're both dog people.
Yeah, they do. They are.
Speaking of which, do you know what his dog is named?
His dog is named Gilly. Do you know what that dog is named after?
I do. Do you, Sid?
No, I don't.
We'll get to it when we get to the book later on.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I got it. Alright. It took a second for the penny to drop, but I mean, I'm there now.
Yeah. Okay. There's a very quick scene at sea. We see Macbeth and his flunkies. They're flying around in their jet plane, like, looking for the scrolls. And Broadway is just, like, in bondage at the back of their jet.
For some reason.
Yeah, why do they bring him with them? I just to keep an eye on him, I guess. But it's like, you just wanted the eye candy, as I think the real reason.
Yeah.
But he's all like, you can't hold me forever. And Macbeth's like, shut the fuck up, I don't care about you. I'm just looking for the scroll right now. So, I think Banquo is all like, oh, it's probably at the bottom of the ocean. And Macbeth's like, it better not be or I will fucking kill you. And they're like, oh.
No, I love
bad.
that. He says, like, it better not be or else you'll join it or something like that at the bottom of the ocean. And then it's like you hear this dramatic bagpipe cue as their surprised faces. Like, it zooms in on them. It's just...
A bagpipe band just follows Macbeth around for, like, dramatic pauses.
It's me.
Like
I'm a bard. I'm always playing the
Yes.
bagpipes around Macbeth just for aesthetic
you.
purposes. I need, because it's like he needs that aesthetic around him. He pays pretty good, as much as a old historical figure can.
Yes, indeed. I bet Macbeth pays very well for what he wants.
I'd work for Macbeth. I mean, hell,
I would work for Macbeth. Like, as far as evil villains go, he seems like one of the least evil in this show. I feel like he's
not
a
a
good
killer.
employer.
I mean, he can kill. He is a killer. I mean, I should reiterate, but he's like not out for blood necessarily, unless it's Demona, which
He wouldn't kill me because I also like King Arthur shit. As we established at the end of this episode, he won't kill people who also like King Arthur. So we'd all be fine. We just have to.
Yeah, but let's just not lose the canisters at the bottom of the ocean. We'll be fine.
Yes. So, back at the very comfy home of Jeffrey Robbins, there is indeed a fire going. The two men, Robbins and Hudson, they're sitting in some overstuffed armchairs. It looks very nice. We see, like, some sort of, like, military gun mounted over the fire. We see the two of them, Jeffrey and Hudson, they're sitting in some overstuffed armchairs. This looks like a super comfortable living room that they're in.
Oh, yeah. It's just so, there's a warm fireplace going. There's books everywhere. I'm a fan of it.
There are books. Yeah, like it's my kind of place. There's a gun mounted over the fire, and there's also like a uniform displayed in a case. I noticed, so that will come up in a little bit. So he's like looking around. He's like, "Oh, what's this?" And Robbins he gestures for Hudson to hand whatever it is to him, so that he can like touch it and see what it is. This episode is really good about things like that, like showing how blind people like actually do things, which I thought that was good. So
it's mature.
So like he gets his hands on it. And he's like, "Oh, it's my purple heart." So he gives a short backstory for himself, which is he was the commanding officer of a group of like green kids in Nam, and he was so busy watching over them that he didn't watch his own step, and he got injured from like a shrapnel grenade, and he lost his sight. This backstory is very similar to Forge's backstory from X-Men, only Forge lost his leg. And also he summoned a bunch of demons, but that's not important.
Well, that's completely different, but also the same, I guess.
It's exactly the same, because they're both Vietnam War veterans. But then Hudson is all like, Nam, and Robin says, Vietnam, the war. And, like, Hudson just sort of doesn't say anything in response, because I feel like he was like, oh, I fucked up just now, and should have pretended I knew what that was. But then Robin goes on, he's like, funny, something about your voice made me think you were a soldier once. And Hudson says, I still am, I suppose. And Hudson, like, he tries to change the subject off of himself, but he does it in, like, he does it by asking, what fills your nights now, Robbins? Which, like...
This is like a date.
Yeah, this is a date, and he's like, so, like, are you seeing it? Like, who are you fucking right now? And are they any better than me? It's like, I feel like what the question it could be read as.
Exactly,
like,
exactly.
I thought that was very interesting. But Robbins is all like, oh, I write novels, or I did, until they dried up. So then Hudson looks around, and he asks if all the books in the room were written by him, and there's like 10 bookcases in this room. So like it's so cute. Robin laughs. He says like no, but he did have some modest successes. So like he hands one of the books to Hudson. The front cover of this book, I'm just gonna say it looks like gay porn.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
there's a big shirtless muscle man on it. And I feel like Hudson looks at it too and is like, is this porn? But like in an effort not to ask that, he like sort of feels it, and he's like, well, what are these tiny like bumps on the cover? So then like Robin's just to explain to him what Braille is. This is a very special episode about reading, by the way, in case that like wasn't extremely clear by now. But I love it. So then, like, he hands Hudson, like, a printed version instead. And it's like, it's probably, more your style. And then we see on the book the title, and it's a fucking book about Gilgamesh.
Yes! It all comes full circle.
Our gay icon, Gilgamesh.
Yes.
So this is definitely gay porn now, right? Like, this is confirmed.
Without it,
I mean, it could be a historical account of Gilgamesh, and it would still be gay porn.
Who had a lot of gay sex?
We covered like all of this in a bonus episode about Gilgamesh and a little cute animation that displayed his story. For those who are curious, you can find it on the SoundCloud profile you're probably currently listening to if you just do some browsing.
And you should, because I did a ton of research on it. So listen to it. It's a really good episode. You'll learn a lot. You'll learn about how gay Gilgamesh is.
But
of course.
I mean, anyone who would write a novel on Gilgamesh is almost certainly gay. We have a near certain proof
definitely
of this now.
Queer to
We've
some
just decided,
extent.
yeah.
It's fine. It all works out. This is a romance story.
Yeah, so Jeffrey Robbins is gay, he's super gay, and this is the way he chose to come out to Hudson. Back in the day, this is like sort of how you did that. Like, if you don't know how someone will react, you like sort of come out to them like without coming out, It's like, he's not saying to Hudson like, I'm gay, he's like, oh, this is an example of my work. And if you are into me, you'll read it, and then you'll find out that I'm gay because the book is gay. You know? But, like, he also have, like, a defense in case, like, Hudson's, like, some sort of crazy axe-murdering homophobe. People are like, well, I'm not gay. I'm just being, like, historically accurate.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's a safe way to do it.
Yes. And by the way, his dog, Gilly, that we touched on before, he is named after Gilgamesh.
Yes.
Yeah. So Robbins isn't just, like, a fan of Gilgamesh. He's a super fan.
Oh, no, without a doubt. It speaks for itself, really.
Okay, so back to the reading. Hudson tells him, well, like, whether it's printed or it's bumps, like, it doesn't really make a difference to me. So Robbins is like, you can't read, can you? Which makes him the first person, I think, in the series to, like, explicitly say that or, like, make that connection about Hudson. So it's an important moment.
Yeah, and then Hudson kind of like looks down, and the camera like kind of like somberly zooms in on him after he says that. So yeah, it really just is a scene that speaks for itself. The shame Hudson feels about not being able to read, as well as just like the reaction to the. It's just a well done scene, honestly.
It's really good, and like I like how like Hudson isn't able to tell his clan this, but he is able to tell this person who he's just met. This thing about himself, and like I find that can be the case sometimes when you meet someone and like you feel like you have like an immediate connection to them, like you can tell them things that you haven't told like your family or like your friends even. Like,
absolutely.
Not ready to tell them necessarily, but you can tell this other person. So like I thought that was also interesting.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Back on the carrier jet, Macbeth he's formulating a theory. He's like, well, maybe if the Skrulls, maybe they washed up on the beach. So he's trying to go check out the beaches, and Broadway's all like, why do you even care about these things anyway? Who even was Merlin? Just another stupid magician. And this is when, like, all of a sudden the music changes. And, like, Sid, I think you should just, like, clip the audio from this scene and just, like, plug it in here. If you can't, I'll read it out. Cause
I can absolutely do that.
What's this big deal about these scrolls? Who was this Merlin? Just another stupid magician.
He was a singular spectacle. Bearded old man who took a ragged boy and with magic and wisdom turned him into the greatest king this world will ever see. King who ruled with justice and compassion. Who took the torn remnants of warring tribes and knit them into a country of beauty and civilization. With Merlin always by his side until it fell. Merlin's magic was stronger than everything except the human heart.
You were there.
I'm old, but I'm not that old. Obviously, I read about it.
But you describe it like you were there.
Like, real talk, I fucking love King Arthur shit.
Yes.
The One in Future King by T.H. White, like, might be my favorite book of all time. So, like, this little speech Macbeth gives, it does such a good job of evoking, like, what King Arthur is about, and, like, the feel of King Arthur, that I just, like, I really appreciate it. And also, this is the second time I've noticed in a Disney property where King Arthur, in particular, is used to make someone enjoy reading, or, like, learn how to read.
Yes.
Because there's a little scene in the Broadway version of Beauty and the Beast where Belle teaches Beast how to read, and they use King Arthur to do that too. So, like, someone at Disney really likes King Arthur, or thinks it's, like, the perfect thing to, like, solve illiteracy. One or the other, but, like, I do notice it, like, keeps happening.
I feel like it's just two completely separate people, just because everyone who's read King Arthur knows.
Everyone knows. Yeah, that's true. By the way, if you also like King Arthur and gay porn, I myself have written Arthurian fiction. You can look at it on my Amazon page. It's called Dungeon of the Thorn Knight. It involves Sir Turquine kidnapping a whole bunch of King Arthur knights, stripping them all naked, like spanking them all, torturing them in various sexy ways. I recommend it.
I also recommend it.
It's only $2.99. I just thought I'd plug it just because
you can't beat these prices, baby.
No, you can't.
This is high quality Arthurian porn. Like,
you will never find better King Arthur porn. Probably.
You won't.
And this is inspired by the actual.
Yes, and it is inspired by the actual story of like Sir Turquine kidnapping and stripping knights and like whipping them is a thing that happened in the myths. So like, I didn't even have to add all that much to make it porn, honestly. Like,
exactly.
It sort of already was porn.
It writes itself, really. But you just add a lot of your traditional spanky flair onto it.
Yeah, you know, the thing that I'm known for.
Which you're great at.
Thank you.
No problem. You're both great at it. I've been reading Hiran's stuff he's been posting recently, which I also recommend. I also recommend for any listeners.
You should read all of our things. All three of us on the podcast right now are all writers. Me, Hiran, and Sid. Read all of our weird porn. You'll have such a good time. Or you'll be like, oh, that was a weird experience.
Yeah.
You'll have one of those two reactions.
I just kind of sit in my own circles and just kind of do my thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still love that one story I commissioned from you about
the headless horse. Yeah.
Oh, you do? Oh my gosh. Oh, okay.
But that is a weird one. Question.
I mean, it was weird, but I mean, there was effort into the weirdness, and I did enjoy writing that and being creative. Because I'm like, you know what? How do I make this more in a sexy way rather than a scary way? Maybe the Headless Horseman's actually a centaur.
Yeah. See, but like, I feel like we all write such unique things. Like, that's the other thing about us. Like, we're all so creative. Anyway, I've been backpatting us.
No, it's fine.
We're all awesome. You should read our shit.
It's our podcast. Well, you can do what you want.
Oh yeah, it is our podcast. You all signed up for this, everyone.
Yeah, we did. I signed my blood contract and everything.
I think you meant the listeners. Wow, I almost said readers.
You know, all of us did. Okay. Meanwhile, back at Castle Wyvern, apparently Goliath and everyone had just been like ransacking Xanthos' castle like the entire night.
Oh my god.
Because they go back into like Owen's little office and like it's almost sunrise and like Owen's just there like reading a newspaper. So again, Goliath's all like, where is everyone? And Owen gives like this dramatic sigh and he's like, all of Mr. Xanatos' vertical takeoff and landing craft are in the shop, but you might try Macbeth. which is like the sassiest thing he could say, and like he knew the entire time.
He's let them
I don't even know how
surge.
he knows that Macbeth stole these people, but he's just like, it was probably him because he's the only one with like ships like this, I guess.
Yeah.
But like, oh my, the sheer amount of sass that comes off of him in like every appearance.
This is a good Owen episode too. On top
I
of everything
know,
else,
it's so good. So we go back to Jeffrey Robbins and the real theme of this episode, where Hudson, he's like, they're talking about his illiteracy, and Hudson's saying like, well, he's too old now to learn how to read, like it's too late for him. And Robbins replies, well, like he had to learn Braille when he was almost 40, and like if it comes to it, he'll learn a new way to read at 80 if he has to. So like they sort of like go like one by one like down Hudson's list of excuses is what this scene is. So like the next thing, Hudson's all like, well, who would teach me? And like he's never told his clan he can't read, so like he's been keeping it a secret from them. It's like how is he going to learn at this point? And then Robin says, I can teach you, which is like,
oh, it's so cute, dude.
he likes the
can't.
project.
I love these gay old men. They're everything.
But then he goes on though. He's like, but that's not really the thing keeping you from learning though, is it? And then Hudson like says that it's because it shames him that he can't read, and like that's the real issue. Is like if he can't admit to people that he can't do this thing, then like he's never gonna be able to learn how. Which is like, yeah, like as someone with anxiety, like I felt that line quite a bit, and I felt like that nailed how probably a lot of illiterate people feel, I imagine. And Robin says that he understands, but that it isn't shameful to be illiterate. It's only a shame to stay that way, which is like the message of this whole episode.
Right, of course.
So yeah, it's just like it's a really sweet scene. I like these two. I think they work as a couple. But then Hudson notices it's getting light out, so like it's time for him to go. Like he very hurriedly gathers the scroll canister. He makes his way out. Robbins like gets sad here because he thinks that like he says something like, "Oh, I've run you off now with my preaching," but Hudson like tries to assure him like, "No, it's just it's dawn and I've got to go." So like he sort of like he runs outside. He like perches on the stone wall just as the sun is coming up. Just like the show as usual has the fastest sunrises of all time.
Of course.
So then Robin like follows him out, and then like he hears the process of Hudson turning the stone, but he doesn't know what it is. So that, like he sort of like calls out a few times, but when he doesn't get an answer, he just turns around. He walks back inside, and like
because he can
so
detect that
sad.
There's not like a person like a active person there now. I think is also a big part of it.
Yeah, but like this, it's so sad, the music here, because he thinks that like he's never gonna see Hudson again, and like
I know.
I think he felt a connection to him too. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. That's undeniable. I mean, they work well together.
My beautiful gay blind man in this episode. He's so good.
He is.
But as soon as he goes back inside, we see Macbeth's ship was just like hovering overhead the whole time. So like Macbeth comes down, and then like I think Jeffrey hears someone outside. So he's like, "Who's out there?" Like, "Hudson, is that you?" And then Macbeth like strides up to him, and he introduces himself as Lennox Macduff, and he says he's a friend of Hudson, but he's concerned about him. And then Robbins is like, "Well, you just missed him." And Macbeth says something like, "Well, I won't trouble you anymore then, and good day to you." So he just leaves, but on his way back to his ship, it looks like he catches sight of him for the first time, although I think I saw him at the statue before too, but like whatever. He sees the statue of Hudson holding the scroll canister in his hand. So Macbeth just sort of like gives this very evil looking smirk and like sort of uncorks the canister and like takes it from Hudson, and like he leaves with it. So then we just fast forward to the next night. Hudson wakes up with like the one required flexing scene per episode, which we have to have. We see his back, all the muscles in it, and his roaring. It's just, what else can I say? We've seen so many flexing scenes, but they never really get old, do they?
Yeah, we don't get like a real highlight on Hudson though.
That's
so it's
true.
good to see it here.
So he sees that the scroll he was holding is not there anymore. So he goes up to Robin's door, he knocks on it. There's a cute scene of the dog, Gilly, like, licking Hudson's hand. I love it. And, like, I feel like Robin is also, like, very happy to see him again.
It just shows that, like, they're comfortable with him.
Yeah,
so
they're already
cute.
comfortable together. And Hudson says, he's like, I left something on the terrace. And Robin says, well, he hasn't come across it, but, like, maybe Hudson's friend did. Lennox Macduff was there to see him. And Hudson's all like, I don't know who the fuck that is. And Lennox Macduff is like, or no, Robin's like, well, that doesn't surprise me because the name sounds extremely fake.
It is the worst pseudonym ever.
And then he
really
says, Lennox and Macduff are two characters in a play by Shakespeare. Macbeth. And then it's like, dun dun dun.
I'm just upset that they didn't have bagpipes there, but I guess it's because...
Oh my god, they should have had bagpipes.
I guess it's because Macbeth's not in the scene.
So Hudson realizes that it was Macbeth now who took the canister, and he's like, I've got to go after him, but then he's like, but I don't know where he lives. And then, like, can we explain this scene? Jeffrey Robbins goes to the phone book, and he looks up the name Lennox Macduff, which we know is an alias that Macbeth had, but I guess it's, like, the alias that he actually uses, like, for his phone number.
Macbeth pays his taxes.
And, like, yeah, like, he pays bills and shit with this name, I guess.
Like, he's just a rich and eccentric old Scottish man, and he pays his taxes, I guess.
So, like, he wasn't just giving a false name, he was, like, giving his, like,
Normal
his normal name that he just goes by normally.
His legal name.
Yes. So, like, he finds Macbeth's address in the phone book.
Yeah.
I'm wondering... everyone here should know what a phone book is, I think.
Not anymore.
Well,
I'm just saying, who's listening to this podcast? They probably have come across a phone book.
Like, if they watch old TV shows, they might have seen a phone book in it. Like, I haven't seen a phone book. I don't know when the last time I saw one was.
The last time I saw one was like 2007 or so. That's not that long ago.
Yeah.
I also appreciate, one thing I want to say about the scene that's a little off topic, but, when he's, like, opening the phone book and, like, he's showing Hudson the address, Hudson is, like, very close, like, he's, like, also looking into the book, but it's, like, we know he can't read, so he's not really looking in the book, he's just, like, leaning in, close to, Robbins.
Mm-hmm. And he's probably seeing how Robbins also reads with the braille, so he's probably just interested
that's
in
also...
that.
Yeah.
But also he just wants to be close to him and be like...
Yeah, no, absolutely. I like that little smile they share together before the dissolve wipe. Mm-hmm. The dissolve wipe takes
because Hudson's all like, magic book, and then Robin says, aren't they all? Which is like the corniest line in this whole episode.
I know, but he sells it. Like, it should be so corny, but I still buy it coming from him.
This show does really special episodes really well. Like, this one and the Broadway and the gun violence one are like both really good episodes. Deadly Force,
yes.
But, like, every once in a while they indulge themselves with, like, what's the corniest thing we can have this character say?
I know. They do that, I think, more than most with Elisa. Because Elisa is kind of a dork. Like, she's very New Yorky, and she says a lot of, like, cheesy one-liners.
Yeah, and like, she is the closest that we probably have to, like, an audience surrogate, I guess, as, like,
a
normal person.
Yeah.
But she is also just, like, a very corny person in general.
Yeah.
She really is.
We go back to Macbeth's castle, which we now have the address for, and there's just a scene of Broadway in bondage. He's chained up. Do you want to describe beautiful Broadway?
I mean, like, I was surprised at how long they focused on him straining his muscles and breathing deeply from straining his muscles so much.
Like, and his wrists are shackled, over his head, and he's, like, straining his chest and his belly, and he's like, and, like, his arms, and, like every part of him. There's a lot. It's like, it reminded me of, like, Princess Leia bondage. Like, with Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
I felt like Broadway should have been, like, in a sexy slave bikini.
Oh my god.
He probably looked good like that.
He would. I mean, undeniably. I think the loincloth though really speaks for itself. It's just that's their
true.
version of the sexy bikini.
Yeah, they just wear it all the time.
I want to see all the gargoyles in sexy bikinis, but let's
Yeah.
save that for another day.
They'd all have like different types.
Yeah.
And Hudson's would be like one of those like old-fashioned like full body swimming suits
Oh my
like they used to
God.
wear. Because as we know, Hudson is a never nude, so like he doesn't want to show
No,
off
yeah.
skin.
Yeah. I think that's definitely one of those things. I've said it a lot of times before that the writers just like don't want to show like a big naked old gargoyle, but it's like I kind of feel like they would. I feel like it's more maybe like a conscious decision for Hudson to just kind of display himself as the most clothed because he
And
doesn't.
it's just funny that like by making him wear clothes, they actually made him hotter than the other ones.
Yeah, that's true. He's my favorite for a reason.
Okay, but
Yeah.
But okay, so the place where Broadway is struggling all sexily is in like looks like the castle like central courtyard, I guess, and Macbeth is there. He's preparing like for some magical ritual of some kind. Does he has both scrolls now? He's gonna open them up, and then he says he's gonna practice some magic on Broadway, and then there's like a close up on Broadway's scared face.
Like, what does that mean? Like, what are you gonna do? Cast weird sex spells on him?
He's gonna
Probably.
cast like weird, like sexy hypno spells on Broadway, and like
I
see.
mean, we already know that those spells exist in the Gargoyles.
Yeah, they
right?
do.
So-
It was used on Goliath.
Yeah.
We might as well see it for the others at some point.
He's going to indulge all of his kinks on like
He really
this,
is.
like poor helpless himbo Broadway. He's just he's so tied up
He
and
is
not wearing very much.
No, he's not. He never really does, and he's got a lot of skin to show.
But outside the castle, we see Goliath, Brooklyn, and Lexington. They land outside, like they start like discussing their next step, and then Hudson also lands. Like everyone is here now, and they're all happy. They're all super happy to see Hudson because they didn't even know like where he was. Like they thought that he'd been captured with Broadway.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I haven't even seen him like since the big fight that we had. So we know now that Broadway is like the only damsel in distress here. They're all going to rescue him. They're all going to collectively date him. It's great.
Yeah, of course.
So then there's this really long scene of like the gargoyles, like they fly in. Macbeth's two goons are like keeping them at bay with like these big like turret cannons that they have.
Okay, but like at the start of this scene,
Uh-huh.
the two goons are like, "Oh no, there's trouble coming," and Macbeth's just like, "Take care of it," and like the most blasé fashion ever. He glances over slightly, sees what it is, and he's like, "Just take care of it. I don't
Doesn't care, yeah. Because he's got the scrolls now, and he's so into
He's so
sexually
into
torturing Broadway.
these scrolls. He's so excited for the
He's
scrolls,
so
man.
into them.
He's just like lavishly making out with the paper.
Like like last time he was hired to take care of the gargoyles. He like cared about them. This time, the gargoyles just like interfering with something completely unrelated. And he's just like, I just want them to like go away. Like I just care about Merlin and King Arthur shit. That's all that I care about.
Literally. I will also say that the turrets that the goons go on remind me a lot of like the enemy turrets you have to fight in a lot of the Sly Cooper video games.
I buy that.
Like the RC or the airplane like levels with like I know Murray has used the turret cannon several times in the Sly Cooper games that are just like that, but then it's like there are times where Bentley has to like take out those kind of cannons. It's used a lot in those games, so that was like a nice little like, oh yeah.
I feel like you go on turrets a lot in the Spyro series too, and like shoot super fireballs from them.
I actually
Turret
haven't
cannons,
played a lot of
video
Spyro
games just like to have turret cannons in them.
They do though. They really
'Cause they're
do.
cool.
They are cool. You know?
Eventually, the gargoyles they destroy the cannons. It takes like several minutes of this, and meanwhile, the whole castle just like blasted and like set on fire.
Yeah, like
this happens a lot to Macbeth's
another
castles.
fucking castle that the
Like, how many
Gargoyles
castles
ruined.
does he have? Like, in the New York area. That just gets set on fire anyway.
Do we ever see another one of his castles after this?
I don't know. Like, for all I know, this might be the same as the last castle. He just had it rebuilt since last time. I don't know.
I mean, he's got his name in the phobos. He's probably paid in some very important taxes, as you know, immortality can probably get you.
I mean, he's got insurance. He probably just put in an insurance claim.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That affects.
And then when the insurance agents were there investigating, they were like, "What's with this weird torture dungeon you have in the basement?" And he was like, "Pay no attention to that."
Imagine him speaking to insurance adjusters. God.
He would have to pass it off as exactly what it is. It's a BDSM. You know, he's all like, a man's got to get his pleasures one way or another, and the insurance agents are just like, okay, so we'll rebuild the castle for you. But it's gonna cost you.
You convinced us.
I'm sorry. I'm really invested in the fact that Macbeth pays taxes and like is a normal person in this world.
Like, I'm having trouble dealing with it, but yeah, it is canon. It's true. Eventually, during all this, though, Macbeth does get the scroll. Like, he opens it up and he starts to read, but then it turns out it's not a magical spell book. It's Merlin's diary that he's keeping, and it seems to start from the moment that like he met Arthur, and then goes on from there. And like I'm assuming that like if Macbeth reads further, that's when like all the X-rated stuff starts. Like that didn't make into Lamont to Arthur. Like all Arthur's tryst with Lancelot, the time Sir Turquoise like kidnapped all of them, like the orgies with Gawain and like his 4 brothers, like all that sort of things. But like he only reads the opening few sentences before Goliath just sort of like drops in and like kicks him in the head, and then like Goliath picks up the scrolls. They're his now. They exchange some pithy banter, and then Goliath is all like, he orders Macbeth to release Broadway or he'll burn the scrolls. And it's funny here because like Macbeth doesn't give a shit anymore. Like he did, which is weird to me because like he does like King Arthur shit, but like I guess he was like, I only wanted spells. Like, you can burn the scrolls. I don't care.
I think he was just like incredibly angry and like wasn't thinking.
Yeah, like probably he's caught in the moment.
Because if you look at what happens next, like
yes, because Broadway, like it's Broadway a protest. He's like, no, they are magic. You can't burn them, Goliath. It's Merlin's life, in his own words. When you read them, they take you there. It is magic, Goliath. Precious magic. And then Hudson also speaks up and he's like, it would be the greatest shame to lose them. And shame is the word that he kept using with Jeffrey Robbins too. So like that's another comeback.
Yeah, it's like we've come full circle.
Uh-huh.
And go ahead.
You go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right. So This scene very highly to me resonates that scene in the second episode of Awakening where Hakon is burning the books because he doesn't even know how to read.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
good connection.
Yes, that's true.
It almost to me looks like it's a statement on like what book burning is. Almost, I don't know if that's like overreaching it, but it's like. It's almost like people who burn books don't really understand the value and the worth of them. I think that's what the show is trying to convey.
And the show goes out of its way to show like how precious like knowledge is.
I was looking up Gargoyles posters recently, and there was one poster I found that was like, it was like Goliath sitting in his thinker pose on the edge of a building while reading a book, and it was just like it was like an library advertisement actually telling you to read and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I remember those. In the libraries in the 90s, they had a bunch of cartoon characters.
Those were awesome.
And they were all Disney characters, but Goliath had one.
Yeah, I'll have to show you guys that.
Do we see what book he was reading?
I don't think we do.
Was it like War and Peace or something?
It could be. I don't know.
I
Let me
could see
see.
it.
I found the
Being so
poster, so let's see.
Oh, okay.
It does not have anything on the cover.
We can't see. But that's such a
yeah.
cool poster. I would love that poster for
Yeah.
our house, for the
I would
library
too.
upstairs. That
I
would be
know.
awesome. Okay, put that on the list, or
Okay.
just leave that tab open.
Oh, there's some other really cool vintage posters that are putting up on eBay for Gargoyles, but not that one. But we'll put that on the
Nice.
list. We'll see what we can do.
Okay, so at this point, Macbeth is kind of like looking at them, and he's just sort of like, huh. So like, he just tells them like, you're all trespassing, take the scrolls, get the fuck out. But like the fight like ends like the moment they start talking about how like they can't let the scrolls burn and how like it would be such a waste if that happened. So like yeah, like Macbeth.
He's just
He
like
sees
whatever
that
at
they
this
care
point.
so much about reading, and he's like, it's not what he expected, I think, and so he's just like, just get out instead.
He saw
he also
humanity in Gargoyles in
Yes.
that very moment.
He also had a remote control for
And
Broadway's
his
restraints,
heart
which
grew
made me
3
laugh
times
a
the
lot.
size that day.
Yeah, like I do think that it also just was him getting a chance to calm down from
Right.
that, because obviously he already agreed with that, knowing him as a character.
Yes. It was just the heat of the moment. You know, we say crazy things sometimes, but when he calmed down, he was like, oh, yeah, they're right. Okay, just leave.
Yeah.
So then the stinger is they're all flying back, and Goliath is saying how, you know, they'll give the scrolls to Elisa so she can return them to the museum, but that he can read them to... I'm not sure who he's talking to, either Hudson or Broadway or both of them, but he says he can read the scrolls to them first if they want him to. And then Hudson scoffs, and he's like, oh, we'll read them ourselves as soon as we learn how. And then everyone's faces, like, light up, because it's, like, the first time Hudson has admitted to them that he can't read, but also that he, like, wants to learn now.
And it kind of is clear that everyone already knew he couldn't read.
Yeah, like, that scene did make it very clear. Like, at first I thought, like, maybe only Goliath knew, and the others didn't. But the scene makes it very clear, like, no, like, everyone knew, but they didn't want to bring it up because they respect Hudson so much.
Yeah.
And they don't want to, like, they don't want to make it seem like they're making fun of him or mocking him
Yeah.
for this thing he can't do. So, like, I thought that was really cute.
It's just one of those scenes.
But you said you weren't sure who they were talking to. I'm fairly certain he was talking only to Hudson, because
Yeah.
at
Is
the
that where his
time...
face is pointed?
Well, yeah, because there's that, and there's also the fact that right now, no one in the clan is acknowledging the fact that Hudson can't read them himself.
Well, they know that Broadway can't read.
Right, so they're talking only to Broadway.
Right. Oh, okay. I thought you said they were talking only to Hudson.
Maybe I did. I don't know. But I meant
I wasn't
Broadway.
sure. Who he was talking
I know
to,
what you
'cause they're,
meant.
They're
It's
both
fine.
in that same general direction in the
I'm
scene.
pretty sure it's Broadway, and then Hudson kind of just butts in and
Yeah,
says,
yeah.
I'm going to.
That would make sense.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. That makes sense.
And then the very last scene, we go back to Jeffrey Robin's house, and he's talking to his dog Gilly about how, you know, all the talk about Merlin has him think there might be another book in him yet. So he starts one right there. I wish writing was this easy for me, but he's just talking to a recorder, and he says this whole speech of The Sword and the Staff, a book of Merlin. And I'm going to say it out here for you all. The written word is all that stands between memory and oblivion. Without books as our anchors, we are cast adrift, neither teaching nor learning. They are windows on the past, mirrors on the present, and prisms reflecting all possible futures. Books are lighthouses erected in the dark sea of time. Which is like, off-the-cuff writing goes, is pretty dang good.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I don't know what has to do with King Arthur yet, but yeah, I'm sure he'll get there soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as he's saying all of that, we see the view, it shifts to outside his house, and then we see Hudson is there, like, in the same perch as before, but this time he's facing towards the house, and he's listening to his new boyfriend talking, and he's smiling, and it's very gay, and that's how the episode ends, and it's beautiful.
So
It's wonderful. We love it.
yeah. Oh my god, it's a perfect ending to a really good episode. I have to ask though, because I don't think I remember for the life of me. I don't think that Do we ever see Robbins again after this?
Yes, that is
comes
actually
in
what I wanted to talk
at
about.
least one other time. I know he'll be in the City of Stone episodes.
So he is in one of the City of Stone episodes, which is one of a great use of him because his blindness actually comes into play in that episode.
Yeah, it's
That's
like
incredibly
it's an
important,
thing.
and it's a thing on disability versus ability in different scenarios, which I could go on for a while. But you guys can probably cover that during City of Stone.
Yeah.
So the other times we see him are, one of them is called The Dying of the Light, and it's a Goliath Chronicles episode.
Oh no!
But it is the only Goliath Chronicles episode that Wiseman wasn't, after he left, that actually had a scene from it make it into the comics.
Okay.
Because, and it's probably my favorite Goliath Chronicles episode, because despite the poor animation and slightly out of characterness, it's actually a decent episode. And I will leave the plot of it alone in case you guys decide to cover it later.
Yeah,
We'll see how far we get.
All right,
Goliath Chronicles, if we ever want to tackle those.
I think we're gonna have to, because we're gonna. At that point, we'll have gone too far to back down.
We're completionists here.
We are.
What I also wanted to talk about was the comics that he's in, because in the comics he discusses the events of this episode.
Oh.
I don't even remember that.
Yes. So, in the comics, Hudson goes to visit him, and it's implied he's been visiting regularly.
Yes.
Despite the fact we haven't seen him
Because
on screen for a while. And so he starts trying to tell, if I remember correctly, and this has been a while since I read it, but he starts trying to tell Abby that he's a gargoyle. Because now it's public knowledge.
Remember this, and then Robin's just like, I knew that already, because he always leave like right as the sun is coming up, or like other stuff.
What he says is, you always give off a faint scent of concrete.
Oh my god!
And he's like, as soon as I found out what a gargoyle was,
frequently, Hudson.
and he's like, as soon as I found out what a gargoyle was, I knew that was what you were. So like, he already knew. He makes it very clear. He already knew he wasn't a human.
Yeah.
For quite a long time, possibly going back to the first.
Well, I feel like maybe when Hudson first leaned on him,
right? Because he puts his claws on it.
Yeah.
So like, it's heavily implied that since the beginning he's known he's not a human, and the moment he found out what a gargoyle was, he put that together.
Oh well, that explains that.
That's really cool. I like that.
So yeah, just wanted to add that little tidbit in.
So that scene in that Goliath Chronicles episode?
It's basically an adaptation of a scene from that episode.
Right.
Like they're in very different contexts, but like it has been stated that it was inspired by the scene.
Cool.
I do also like that. That also confirms that after this episode, Hudson kept going back to visit him.
Yep.
Yes.
So that's good. I can write my comfort fic at one point. Then
Goliath gets to have his human girlfriend. Hudson gets to have his human boyfriend.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's wonderful.
It's all very sweet.
So the other thing that might imply is that he wasn't just inspired by the events of Merlin, but by the fact that he met someone who wasn't human, and that might have been why he suddenly had the inspiration to write fantasy again, because he got an otherworldly vibe off of Hudson.
Probably. Maybe Hudson is the sword in the Sword and the Staff. You know, I would love to know what the Sword and the Staff is about. I would love to read that someday.
We shall. We'll add it to the many things we have to read at one point.
Well, we can't, because it's not a book that's real. It's the one that Jeffrey is writing at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But I would love to write it myself as weird erotic fan fiction.
I mean, even the name already sounds like it's weird erotic fan fiction.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to say, but like, what we know about Jeffrey Robbins, like, that's what I would expect out of him. So
I love it.
What are we going to rate this episode?
I don't want to go first.
Okay,
I want to hear your guys' thoughts.
Or would you like to go, Hiran? Do you
okay, sure, I'll go first.
Okay.
So I'm gonna rate this 4 out of 5 loincloths. Because it's a great episode. I love it. It's got some of the Broadway scenes are a little iffy in terms of how hard they're pushing the point.
Yeah.
And also, it doesn't really have enough, good content in terms of, fanservice-y stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Well, I don't know about that.
It definitely is not top tier in terms of
concentrated burst for me.
Yeah. But I think those are the two things holding it back from getting a 5 out of 5.
Okay.
Right, okay.
Well, I'm rating it a 3.5 loincloths out of 5. Originally, I thought it was a very solid episode. Normally, I'd probably give it a 3, just because I think that's, the episode they're, good. Maybe not, incredible, but, a very solid 3. But all the King Arthur talk in it elevated it another 0.5 points for me. So I think I'm landing at a 3.5.
All right. All right. So after hearing your guys' thoughts and opinions, I do agree that this isn't a perfect episode personally for me. But I just love the theme of this episode. I love Hudson. And I felt like this was a good episode for me to cover, considering I am going through a bit of a writer's block lately. And just to, watch an episode about, a character I love and adore, go through the plights of, reading and, it's like I've asked myself lately as a writer, I'm like, is it really worth, pushing myself this hard just to keep up my craft? But it's something about Robin's way of, trying to get Hudson to learn how to read was very inspirational for me, and hearing that. I guess this episode, I want to give it a perfect rating just for the fact that it resonated with me on a personal level. I mean, but in terms of a general, critical rating, there are some things holding it back. I would give it a 4.5 out of 5, I'd say.
Near perfect.
Yeah, definitely much more positives than negatives.
I think we're all mostly in agreement.
Yeah.
It was a good episode. We all liked it.
Yes. And now, if I remember correctly, next episode is the last episode that I think you're going to be groaning about for a while.
Oh, no.
The next episode is the Silver Falcon.
Oh my god, it's going to be so fucking boring.
I like the Silver Falcon.
Okay, do you want to cover it?
Sure.
You and Sid can do it. I'm just kidding.
My God.
I will do it. I will
But
complain the entire time.
But after that, we kick off everything that leads up into City of Stone, and there's nothing bad between that and the start of the Avalon arc.
Yeah, I can't wait, because that's the golden age of this show.
There's one episode that I know you don't like, but I like in that period. But it's almost all good stuff, and I think there's a good chance that a good chunk of the viewers will like every episode in that period.
I'm looking forward to getting there. Okay, we have 2 other things we need to do for this episode before we go on. We need to talk about who the gayest character is in this episode.
I mean, I think it goes without saying.
I think it does too. I don't think I'm even going to say it.
I have 2 candidates, so I'm curious which one it's going to be.
Okay, well, for me, it's 2 characters. It's Hudson and Jeffrey Robbins. Who else
obviously.
is it going to be?
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, which one are you talking about? I don't know.
I mean, Owen is there, and he does give some very smart aleck remarks, so, I want to give it to him, but it can't be him.
Yeah, Broadway and Macbeth both get some, but just...
Oh my god.
No, they do.
Macbeth is trying to, molest him while he's, chained up there.
I know.
Yeah. But, it has to go to Jeffrey and...
Yeah, no,
Hudson.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I thought you were done.
That's fine.
Okay, I'm pretty much in agreement. I don't think one really levels the other one out. I think there is just, just a sort of... unique and beautiful bond between those 2 characters that's undeniable. And it's very, very, very easy to look at this under a queer lens, considering everything we've talked about regarding, Gilgamesh and all that.
Gilgamesh.
So yeah, definitely those 2. No contest.
They have so much in common. They both like dogs. They've both been soldiers. They both they've led such full lives.
I love my gay old men dads. They're beautiful.
Yes. Gay library dads.
Mm.
Love it. Okay. And now another thing that I feel like goes without saying, for me at least, but the horniest moment of this episode. I know what mine is. The scene in particular, we can see all of his flexing and grunting and straining and all of that. It was beautiful. It was fantastic. I want a whole episode of scenes just like that one. I loved it. It sent me to my happy place.
Yeah, I guess that just the whole transitioning to Broadway suddenly just having his wrist chained up and just straining for so long to try to get out of his shackles. That has to be peak horniest animator moment for me, in my opinion. I do also like, the scene where he's put into handcuffs and is transported on the ship and everything. Of course, I do also like the scene where Macbeth knocks him out with his weird, grenade, gas thing.
Yeah, his gas grenade, yeah.
Yeah, and then, like I said before, Broadway might as well fallen face down, ass up. So it's those are my, only contenders. I mean, there's a couple moments with Hudson, but it was more so, cute fluff stuff than just, straight up horny. Hudson was just a really...
Hudson, he's not jumping right into,
the bondage scenario.
Like the piss daddy stuff with Robbins. He's trying to start out cute.
No,
and then
yeah.
bring in, the weird, dirty fetishes, later on.
Yeah, obviously.
Whereas Broadway, I feel like he's just, permanently stuck at the, he's kink fuel.
He really is. Everyone loves
I feel like
Broadway.
He's been put in bondage, so many times in the series already.
I swear, some people will just, make a Gargoyles post I'll see on my feed, and then it's just, I'll see some random account respond with, nice, Broadway is my favorite, even though Broadway isn't featured on the tweet at all. And it's just okay. Yeah, no, they do. Broadway's very likable.
He's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, did you have any thoughts on horniness, Hiran?
I mean, you basically said what I was going to say.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a call forward, though, that I would like to point out, if I remember correctly. That's just occurred to me. So one of the nice things about this show is that when they do an episode like this, they try to actually show the consequences in future episodes. So, flashing way forwards to after the tour arc, I believe we get a scene of Broadway reading to a certain character who's introduced during
Yes, I was thinking about that too.
I do remember that. And
I love that
remember
scene.
Being so proud of him. I was like, you're doing it, Broadway, you're doing it.
I know!
I do think we do see him and Hudson both... Don't we see a scene in another episode too with them, them both learning?
Yes,
to read
I think that's only going to be somewhere in the next couple episodes.
Yeah, I know it'll be soon.
Yeah, where they're just randomly at one point we see them studying, reading together. And just little things like that are just so good.
Yeah.
I know. I remember exactly the scene you're talking about. I was thinking about that too, but I'm glad you mentioned it. And the only thing that annoyed me was that that scene transitions to Brooklyn being a sad fuckboy off in the distance again. It's I can't express how much that annoys me. Is that... Well, it's we get it. Broadway has way more game than Brooklyn. Everyone in the Gargoyles clan has way more game than Brooklyn. He just needs to fucking accept that. All Brooklyn is...
Brooklyn's the Gargoyle who, most fans thirst over, but,
in
universe,
he has no game whatsoever.
It makes me laugh a lot.
I know.
The fact that he has no game does not bother people.
No, I think that endears him to them more. Just that they see, it as a flaw, and it's oh, I can fix him.
Oh my god.
He's so sad and wooby.
No, I'd rather have someone who's
not
wooby.
Super... He's just...
He has his moments of woobiness.
Okay, but he's more...
Or he gives the appearance of wooby.
I was going to say, he's more just...
A fuckboy?
No. I mean, yes, but no. That's not the word I'm trying to say. I can't even speak.
It's okay.
He's more angsty than Wooby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, every time he's had, like, a, quote, love interest, unquote, it's just him being a simp. He doesn't know how to really pursue romance. All we know about him is that he's horny and he doesn't know what to do about it except jerk off and then cry about it.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
I'm just so grateful he, like, never got a weird crush on Elisa. That would have been
Oh
the
my
worst
god.
thing to ever
I would have
fucking
hated that. Oh
Like,
god.
God.
I'm
Can you even imagine? Like, it would have been so bad.
No, he's only like the Gargoyle women from what I've seen.
Yeah, I still would like to have had an episode where we finally get to see, or not even an episode, like a comic issue, where we finally get to see how the heck he eventually landed a wife.
I would love to know how they met.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I want the fucking Time Dancer series. I just want to know what happens in it. Ugh.
Yeah.
I really...
Like,
Go
so
ahead.
good. No, I'm just saying, the Time Dancer series, what little we got of it was very good.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But then, of course, Disney bought out...
I think they raised the licensing fees
no,
or something.
Disney
for the
bought
comics.
Dark Horse.
Okay.
So they pulled all of their properties from Slave Labor Graphics, who was making the comics.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even just raised licensing fees. It just they were like, nope, we're going to
They
make
just
that
decided
in-house
to
now.
kill Gargoyles.
But that was one of the series that didn't make the transition at all.
Rage.
Yeah, it's... Yeah, if I recall correctly, didn't Brooklyn also end up with, like, Demona in that one AU episode? Future Tense?
In Future Tense, and it was amazing.
I do kind of
love
like that for
episode
some reason.
so much.
I do.
Like, making their hatred into, like, this weird, intense, like, romance. And we only see it for, like, a minute, but, like, it's so amazing.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I can't wait
Like-
till we get to that
like,
episode.
you
That
can't
is my
not
part of
convince-
the world tour that I'll be happy on.
Yeah.
You can't not convince me that Demona totally wouldn't just fucking grind Brooklyn's hips into dust just to get what she wants out of him and stuff. Like, that's totally up her. She would fuck Brooklyn.
She would. It is known.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm looking in our Loincloth email. It looks like we have
I'm also
one
doing that. We do
from
have one.
Remy.
We do.
Would
Who
you
wants...
like to read it?
I guess I will do the honors. I will do the honors. It's fine. Good day to you guys at the Loincloth Hour crew, and great to hear that Sid beat that COVID back and away. Well, thank you.
Yay!
Yeah, it wasn't like... I didn't have, like... I was pretty much asymptomatic, I'd say. Like, I had, like, some minor cold symptoms, but this was, like, back in, like, the first week of January. Like, I'm fine now. Okay, so he continues. The last episode of your podcast was not only fun as usual, but also quite insightful regarding how you guys analyzed the three gargoyles, or three personalities of Coldstone. It was a very interesting thing to listen to. I really like the direction you took on that, because it gave it quite a bit of depth. The episode wasn't really that interesting, so we had to make it interesting, I think, with our theories.
I feel like that was mostly your stuff, Sid. Like, you
Yeah,
really
it
went in
was.
depth with them, and I feel like I learned a lot too doing that episode.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, I'm very fascinated with just that kind of stuff. I have a reasonable grasp on psychology, so, it's important to me to implement that wherever I go, I guess. Okay, so he continues. As for this episode, well, it's an unusual one. I liked it, but it's still unusual to me. Like how those two archaeologists pass by a heart shimmering plane by itself and don't pay any mind to
They
it.
just ignored it!
Then open the chest and are met on by full-on magical glowing wisps that form a goddamn phase, but nope, not phased at all. And I get that gargoyle senses are sharper than a human's, but still, how did Goliath hear Elisa from up there cleaning? Yeah, no, that's true. She does yell up to him in the middle of the battle thing that they have the scrolls or whatever, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
she did. I skipped over that part.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
my
Well, that part-
rundown, but yeah,
well,
that
that-
happened too.
that part wasn't really important because it's bad. Because Remy does have a point. How could he hear her from up there? Anyways,
Who knows?
And how did the blind man not hear that loud-ass jet right outside his head, but hear someone walking outside?
Okay, I figured he did hear the jet, but, like, I don't know.
It's New York. You hear jets all the time.
Yeah, you know, you ever just fly your private jet into some blind guy's, like, turf, like, outside his lawn? Maybe it has a silent mode.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, like, he can just hover in secret and not be seen. Okay, so that and Macbeth's female henchman looking like a dude sometimes. Oh, well, she's just a butch lesbian. Just that's whatever.
She is very butch.
Yeah, we appreciate non-gender conforming.
What was her name again? I have to look it up again.
Her name is Fleance.
Fleance.
Beautiful. I love her.
Still, we got a better showing from Macbeth here than in his debut episode, thank goodness. Plus, plenty of focus on Hudson, which I always welcome. To add to the good, we get introduced to Mr. Jeffrey Robbins, who is just so damn wise and likable, and is one of my favorite personal supporting characters, which bums me out that he appears so little during the series. Well, I mean, yeah, we pretty much established all his appearances, but yeah, I would have, of course, liked to have seen more stuff with him, especially with Hudson. Okay. His friendship with Hudson... Let me continue. His friendship with Hudson is pretty damn heartwarming. I'm glad that it's thanks to him that Hudson decides to learn how to read. Then there's Broadway deciding to learn how to read, too, by Macbeth telling him about Merlin, which was a little cheesy, but adorable. I do agree. But it makes sense in terms of the characters. I tell you, Broadway's opinion about books and reading early in the episode is the kind of talk that pisses me off, especially nowadays, where young folks don't read or don't even know what a book is. And then, of course, when was the little added bonus of Blandstone not only having no lines, but also getting slammed by a metal door. It was immensely satisfying. Yeah, that's... I do like that.
That might have been one of my favorite parts of the episode.
Yeah,
I'll admit it.
Absolutely. It's very satisfying if you don't like Bluestone. I almost called him Blandstone because I thought that was his actual name.
That is his name.
It might as well be at this point. At this point. Yeah, I mean, we had our own take on why Broadway was so defensive about it. I guess, like, a lot of people wouldn't realize that when someone is refusing to, like, learn how to do something, it's just, like, kind of, that's just their defense mechanism towards it. People can get agitated when they're, when things are brought up around them that they feel inferior about. So, to me, that makes sense. It doesn't really piss me off or anything. It makes me hope, like, for the best for Broadway. But that's just how I would react to it. If you hear someone talking about not wanting to learn how to read, I guess, generally, to get pissed off about it makes sense.
I just punched them in the face.
It's bullying.
Not really.
I guess.
I wouldn't do that. Everyone, if you're listening to this and don't know how to read, please do learn. There are resources available. We'll probably link some of them when we post this.
Yeah, no, I've been trying to try to link more charities and stuff like that and organizations. I believe in the Pack episode at the beginning of season 2, I linked a charity that was to help reading foundations in prisons.
Like prison libraries.
Yeah. So we can do something along those lines for people who have maybe dyslexia or are illiterate and stuff like that. Okay.
I think that would be nice.
So, last paragraph for the email. Now, as the timeline goes for this episode, the two archaeologists find the Scrolls of Merlin on September 7th, the same night when Maggie, Barf, escaped from Genutech in the Metamorphosis episode. Then it's September 23rd when they get to that ship to transport the scrolls, and it's the 24th when the episode ends. Then on the 25th, Lexington begins work on Coldstone to try and bring him or them out of that catatonia. Oh, that's like catatonic. Okay, yeah. And, well, that's all for now and for this episode. And the next is The Mirror, another good one. Already looking forward to it. You guys take care.
Wait, is The Mirror
Be
next?
well and keeping awesome. No, yeah, from the episode play, when I was looking at Disney, it said that The Mirror was next.
Oh, that might be... Disney sometimes has things in the wrong order.
I'm
Wait,
looking.
I'm gonna look on the
I'm looking
wiki.
through my files as well. It goes the Mirror and then the Silver Falcon. So yeah, the
Oh.
Mirror is next.
Oh, I get a
misremembered.
reprieve. We get to do one of the best episodes.
No,
that is
but
one of the
best.
you
Ever.
said you wanted to sit this one out, so that we're gonna let you
No,
have the favor
no.
of sitting out the Mirror.
No, let me do it!
Okay, I'm kidding. It's fine. So yeah,
Oh man,
Thank you
okay,
very
I'm
much
so looking forward now.
for your email, Remy. It really lifted Kroop's spirits just now because he thought the bad episode was
Yes.
next, but it's not. We're safe. We're safe.
Thank you so much. Because if you hadn't said that, like, when it came time to record, I might have, like, downloaded the wrong episode and been like, oh, well, you know, they said it was going to be this one.
Yeah, I know.
Not knowing that we were missing one of the greatest ever.
I know. The Mirror is supposed to be the episode where Goliath falls in love with Lisa for the first time, is it not?
That, yes, because he sees her as a sexy gargoyle, and he's like, oh, I would fuck that. we just gave away the story for the Mirror. It's going to be great, everyone.
Yes.
You're going to love it.
Yes.
It's so good.
It's one of the best episodes. Just like this one is also highly revered, and you know, there's just a lot of really great episodes, really strong foundation for the beginning of season 2. You know,
We're going to talk so much about Puck next episode.
oh my
I
god!
can't, there's so much.
Woo! The little crazy twink elf boy. Spoilers. Sorry, I'm not gonna talk about
Oh
him.
my god, I can't wait. Okay.
All right.
Is there anything else to do for this episode?
I think that is about it. We've been recording for a little over 2 hours now, so I think we can
Nice.
call it. It's
I do want to point out one thing is, like, is it fucked up that the Gargoyles are just keeping this scroll of Merlin to teach Hudson and Broadway how to read? Because they said they're only going to give it back once they can read it.
they're
So, like, how
gonna.
long is
Well,
that
I
gonna
mean,
take?
they're gonna give it back. That's
This
the important
isn't their
thing.
property.
Listen,
they're just
no, no,
keeping
no,
it.
no.
fine. It's fine.
Okay, here's my interpretation of that. When he said, no thanks, we'll read it ourselves, my assumption is he's assuming that they'll be able to just get a copy of
okay.
it to read.
That makes more sense. I hope that's the case, and that
Because
they don't keep this valuable...
There's no way Elisa would let them keep it.
Yeah.
They can just tell her, oh, it fell in the ocean. Sorry, we don't have it.
I don't think I can picture any of the characters.
Because,
Okay.
like, what he actually says is, do you want us to read it to you before we give it back? He says,
Right.
no thanks, we'll learn to read it ourselves.
Right, which I took to mean is that, well,
But
they're
he
just going to
doesn't
read that
say that we're going to
scroll.
read the
Okay.
actual scrolls. He just says, well, yeah.
That's better now. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad
It's
that
fine. They'll take a
talks
picture of
some
it,
sense into me. Yeah, they'll take a picture of it.
and then they'll sell the pictures on eBay for like $1 million.
Or they'll take a picture and then, like, glowing blue lines will come out and, like, scowl at them, and then
Oh!
into the scroll.
Ooh, that's spooky. I like
Anyway.
that.
I don't like that Merlin is just in this chest.
Well, he's
That
got to
nosy
be
liar
somewhere.
that archaeologists don't pay attention to. I wonder about these people. Like, who knows how many other crazy fucking discoveries they've made that they just, like, ignored because they're like, "Oh, that was weird. I'm sure it doesn't matter at all."
Let's look at
this,
got
this
the
bit of pottery that we
artifact.
found.
It's
oh,
okay. We got the artifact. That's all I.
they're
that-
amazing.
that-
I can't wait till the next episode with them.
yeah, the Easter Island, the Easter. Yeah. So, okay.
Okay.
We can call it from here, I think.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. I'm Sydney. You can find me on Twitter at SidScripts. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. You know, if you want more details, you can just follow my Twitter, and yeah, it's all right there.
And I am on Twitter as Spankicorn, and on Fur Affinity as Kroop, on Patreon as Manicorn. If you just go to any of those places, I have links to everywhere else I am, so you can follow me in all of those places. I'm also on Archive of Our Own. I've just started hosting on mailspank.net,
Yes!
which is a MM spanking story site under the name Manicorn. So, yes, find me in all those places and look at my weird stuff and be like, oh, what an interesting person
I'm so proud of you.
this is.
All right.
And Hiran, where are you at?
I am at Pangolin_Hiran, Hiran, on Twitter, and I'm at 13333. That's 4 3s on For Affinity and Archive of Our Own. Although I'm trying to figure out if I can make another suit there to make it under both my names. But
Well, we'll update you as that happens, if and when.
All right.
yeah, that's about it.
Alrighty. Yeah. That is the end of our show. Yeah.
Broadway in bondage.
Broadway and Broadway. Yeah.
Bondage in Broadway.
Bondway and... Yeah.
My name is Broadway.
That's Mr. Way to you.
Are we done?
Yeah,
Is
we're
that
done.
it?
That's it.